Come on. Get them shackles off.
Don't need no weapon!
Barbarians.
I live to serve you. In the truth!
Army's a waste of time for one like me.
Head out, Fiend!
Ha!
Her Majesty is Exceptional.
Catch!
I smell a leak.
Come here! Let's dance! Ah! May disgrace ends here! Time I wiped it away!
I warned you!
Off to the front yet again.
Bigger they are, easier they are to target. Thing about slings, they hide well.
Commissar will hear.
Come on, kill me!
Scheiß in twee!
Is today the day?
And just when you thought things were about to get dull.
To the front yet again.
Yeah, yeah! Don't need no weapon!
Doubt I'll ever pay off these school loans.
Big game of beer!
Don't need no weapon!
Bigger they are, easier they are to target.
You mad? Don't shake that!
Waiting for a personal invitation?
Left, right, left, right.
Hey?
Her Majesty is exceptional.
Don't you worry yourself with Grace. We'll get her done in no time.
This could hurt.
yeah!
As you command.
Again and again and again.
Sod it. Sod it all.
Pissing in the moat? Oh, dead. Got a death wish?
Not supposed to be any smoke.
Death is only the beginning!
Naturally. At once.
Coin never stinks, no matter how rank the pouch.
My favourite cut of lamb? Shank!
Meve now reached Willowhain, a settlement she knew well, for it lay near Waldenrad, where in peacetime she would go to escape her queenly duties and enjoy the thrill of a hunt.
Pheasant, grouse, and partridge in abundance. You will see,
said Meve in muted excitement, pivoting in her saddle to face Gascon. Alas, it appeared the war had ravaged even these woods. Where life had stirred and grown tall before, only resinous trunks remained. And the village itself had lost its quaint allure, surrounded now by a double stockade, a golden sun fluttering above it.
Bastards couldn't even let the damn trees be.
Gascon seethed. Dismal scene. Her once cherished wood, and it weighed heavily on the Queen's spirits. Waldenrad had been a place removed, where she could rest and forget the weight of her crown. Reynard's voice roused Meve from her sad reverie.
A Nilfgaardian garrison holds the village,
he said.
We ought to drive them out, avoid any surprise later from the rear.
give the order to attack, but none is to play the hero. We shall breach or topple the stockade together. Senseless to perish so close to home.
Reynard nodded. Moments later, the Lyrians rushed forth and attacked.
The time has come to purge these devils from our homes! Follow me!
Again and again and again.
Ha!
Order!
You mad? Don't shake that!
This could hurt.
Gloire!
Army's a waste of time for one like me.
Her Majesty knows what she's doing.
That bit the white of an eye from half a league away.
Come on, kill me!
Life is mine now.
Tomorrow I'll drink with our forefathers!
Warum? Wise choice.
Is today the day?
So much anger and suffering. For what?
Favourite cut of lamb? The shank.
Proto dum anime est, spes est.
Quick and painful this'll be.
My prescription, a bit of bloodletting.
Rivia is ours! Ours!
When the battle dust had settled, Niamh instructed her soldiers to gather Willowhane's inhabitants. Upon spotting their armed liberators, the common folk cowered in terror.
No longer need you fear.
The Queen shouted.
No longer must you worry about homes and loved ones. The war's nearly done.
Of a sudden, a villager dropped to his knees and raised his hands to the heavens in supplication.
Troche! Guide my queen!
Niamh broke off oddly, baffled by the man's outburst. And then it dawned on her. The Rivians of Willowhane had been driven away. Taking their place, Nilfgaardian settlers brought in to transform the near-subsistence plots of local peasants into great estates producing for the Empire. Reynard managed to grasp the essence of the Nilfgaardian peasants' frantic pleas.
They wish to stay. They've come to love the land. They pledged to renounce their emperor, swear allegiance to you as their rightful ruler.
Niamh had stopped listening. She turned to survey the hamlet. The walls of the huts freshly whitewashed, tools neatly arranged, flower beds well tended. A young girl of 6 or 7 summers peered out from her hiding place in a sunflower patch.
Your Majesty?
Asked Reynard, having noted that Niamh's mind had wandered.
What are your orders? What shall we do?
They can stay on 2 conditions. Tell them. For 15 years, they'll pay double the tax. And if any of the previous inhabitants return, they're to be given their huts, lands, and any crops produced in their absence without delay.
The Nilfgaardian settlers accepted the terms with relief. Niamh's soldiers with markedly less enthusiasm. As the force left Willowhane, the troops made a show of knocking aside any food or drink the peasants offered.
Hail, Reina, Maeve! Here, Equa! Clar and Lyria and Rivia! Eslain Kere, Sherlain, Marantaik, Stermat Havain. Clar and Lyria and Rivia!
Let me tell you of Ravencloft, a quarry Meve passed by. A quarry with a dark history. For years earlier, its wall had collapsed, burying dozens alive. Scholars summoned from Oxenfurt were unanimous in their findings. The rock was fragile, further digging would likely cause slides. Meve had heeded the scholars' advice and closed the quarry by royal decree. Yet now, as she neared it, Meve could hear the even tap of pickaxes. She dispatched scouts to investigate. They returned promptly, their faces sullen, their cloaks blanched with a fine limestone dust.
Quarry's open anew, Your Grace. Nilfgaardians. They've got folk in the pit working it. Appear to be from the surrounding villages.
Interesting. Their engineers have found a way to render it safe. Secure the walls.
I'd say that's right unlikely, Majesty. Judging by the fresh graves we saw.
The Queen then turned to Reynard, as ever at her side.
Reynard, what do you advise?
As a soldier, my Queen, I'd advise against any kind of assault. The terrain's hard, unsuitable for a fight, and we've little to gain from a victory. As a man, however...
Yes?
To leave our folk in chains, in that death trap. It wouldn't be right.
If I were to calculate in heart and mind, keep note of gains and losses...
began Meve.
I'd bend the knee to the Imperials, just as Willem did. But bloody arithmetic won't dictate my course. For I do what's just. I do what's right. Follow me!
Her troops followed without hesitation, swords in hand, their hearts afire.
Those Wholesons. Forcing my own subjects to fight us.
Ha! Life is mine now.
Again and again and again.
Wise choice. This could hurt. Hey?
Favourite cut of lamb? Shank.
Order!
Your Grace, if we begin killing the overseers, the labourers will turn against them.
Watch your heads!
This one's got spirit.
Army's a waste of time for one like me.
Catch him! He's worth 20 florins!
Discipline shall bring us victory!
God is free!
The overseers are dead, your grace.
The Lyrians handily dispatched the Nilfgaardian overseers, more trained in the ways of the whip than the sword. Those who survived now found themselves shackled in the very chains they'd forced the peasants to wear. Peasants. Oh, unfortunate souls. The cruel labor in the quarry had taken its toll. They stood before the Queen, shrunken to skin and bone, clothed in tattered rags, their eyes reddened by dust. But in those eyes burned a brilliant fire.
Your Grace, them black-clads treated us like dogs, stripped us of dignity. So we beg you, give us arms, let us march neath your banner. 'Tis a chance at revenge we seek, we want!
Reynard leaned towards Meve and spoke in a scarcely audible whisper.
Majesty, they've knout. Not boots, not even foot wraps. To equip the lot, train them, would cost a small fortune.
'Tis true. They've nought to their names,
said the Queen.
Have few skills to offer and little strength. But to look in their eyes is to know they'll never flee, never throw down their arms. Such recruits are worth coin in any amount.
Emaciated, downtrodden, the peasants met the Queen's offer with gratitude. They relished the thought of facing their tormentors in a fight. Meve spied the outline of Malabon Castle on the horizon and turned dour. True, no golden suns waved atop its towers, yet that did not mean those within supported her. Malabon belonged to House Obert, long in conflict with Meve's own, and with Meve herself.
Behind their ramparts. Do you see them, Reynard?
Asked Meve, shaking her head.
Countless ballistae, collecting dust, while war rages all around.
Perhaps the Oberts will lend us aid,
Reynard replied.
True, we've been at odds with them in the past, but perhaps now, faced with a common foe.
A common foe?
Snorted the Queen.
You mean Nilfgaard, to whom they opened their gates? Caldwell, whom they supported?
For they were convinced the Empire would win this war, and resistance pointless. Yet you have shown all the North the Blackclads can be defeated. So perhaps they shall forget old wrongs.
The things I do for the good of my realm.
Meve sighed.
So be it. Reynard, send a runner to the castle. Tell the Oberts their queen seeks a word.
Moments later, the castle's heavy iron gate creaked open. Meve rode into the cobblestone courtyard, where Margravine Greta, head of the house, greeted her. Although, greeted is perhaps not the right word, for Lady Greta granted her only a barely perceptible nod.
What can I help you with, Meve?
The war, my dear. The one being fought outside the walls of your castle.
Greta smiled to herself, then intertwined her brittle, ring-covered fingers.
I'm afraid that's impossible.
It is a vassal's sacred duty to serve her liege, and...
And my liege is King Willem.
Greta calmly retorted.
Against whom you have raised arms.
Willem is a usurper. He unlawfully stripped me of my crown.
The Council of Peers deprived you of your crown,
Greta said, pursing her eyes into thin slits.
Fearing you would drag this realm into a senseless war. A fear which, it is now abundantly clear, was well-founded.
I have returned home a victor. I defeated the Nilfgaardians in Angren.
Due to a stroke of good luck. You think defeating Caldwell means you can defeat the Emperor as well? Madness, my dear Meve. And my men will not die for madness. Leave my home! Begone from my lands!
I shall go.
The Queen said.
And I shall take your war machines with me.
Did I not express myself clearly? I have refused you any aid.
And I have stopped asking.
Meve said, drawing her weapon.
Soldiers! Attack!
Seeing that a battle was imminent, Greta Obert took refuge in the keep. The Margravine soldiers stood ready to defend her life to the very end.
You and Epdahi, you are no different.
Aye. Should have listened to me, old lady.
Left, right, left, right. Again and again and again. An army's a waste of time for one like me.
Long live me! War, you dirty tart. Blood washes away all shame!
Left, right, left, right.
Every rib's a thief.
For Lydia!
Congratulations. You've defeated an old woman.
Shocked by this sudden attack, the Oberts never stood a chance of resisting Meve. Realizing their inevitable defeat, Margravine Greta tried to escape, but her horse, frightened by the tumult of battle, tossed her from the saddle and bolted. Meve left Malabon Castle strengthened by the Oberts' war machines, but in dour spirits. She understood that even if she won the war and chased the Nilfgaardians behind the Yaruga, she would still have enemies left on her land. Meve's force reached Cavaldon, a small, run-down town.
The Blackclads, they've a strong garrison in place,
proclaimed her scouts upon returning from a foray.
And they stand prepared for a siege. Their stores overflow, and we've seen ballistas, scorpions.
Cavaldon can be taken,
began Reynard hesitantly.
But not without losses. Considerable losses.
A retreat? Is that what you advise?
I fear the soldiers wouldn't take to such a course. They're eager, Your Grace. They've a fire in them. Order a retreat and you could devastate morale.
Our losses may be heavy,
said Meve, drawing her sword.
But I'll make certain the vile invader suffers even more. Order the troops to prepare. We will attack.
Soon after, the Lyrians moved on Cavaldon, war drums rumbling in step to their march. Upon the walls, the Nilfgaardians stood poised to defend.
barrier! For Rivia!
In retreat!
Yes?
Ah!
Enough, Fian! We must bring down their walls! Crush them!
You mad? Don't shake that!
Nilfgaard! Life is mine now.
Army's a waste of time for one like me.
Ah!
Wise choice.
Got a death wish? Her Majesty is exceptional.
This could hurt.
May disgrace ends here! Time I wiped it away!
Order!
I live to serve you.
My favourite cut of lamb. The shank.
Of course, as you wish, master.
The chase is on!
Yes. Destillat Zweifel!
Elherzer.
Yes. Destillat Zweifel!
My, now that is some fancy weaponry. And it's still got that new armor shooting smell.
My prescription, a bit of bloodletting.
Périgord!
A highly curious case.
We did it, Your Grace. The city is ours.
The Nilfgaardians had indeed prepared well, with grapples to repel hook ladders from the walls and long spears to rain down upon attackers far below. Meve managed on the fourth attempt to breach the defences, but did so scrambling over the corpses of her own men. The Queen was in the field tent when Reynard arrived with surprising news. To be heard over the groans of the wounded, he had to raise his voice.
Your Grace, a delegation of townsfolk. They seek an audience urgently.
Dozens of burghers stood before the tent. Between them and the Queen, a man knelt in shackles. His face was blooded as if he'd endured a vicious beating just moments before.
Who's this?
Our blacksmith, Todor.
Snarled a priestess in a frayed robe.
He betrayed you, Your Grace. Soon after the Nilfgaardians arrived, within hours in truth, he offered his labour and strength. They didn't even need to ask. Forged arms and armour for them, all for imperial gold.
Meve gripped the beaten man's beard, tugged upwards, and looked him in the eyes.
Did you forge the hooks and the tips for those spears?
I did, Your Grace.
It was fine work.
Growled the Queen.
Damned fine.
Show him mercy, milady!
Cried a withered old man in a flour-spattered apron.
When it black-clad bastards captured my son, they were eager to hang him. Todor spoke for him, saved his life.
He helped me too!
Hollered a woman in the crowd.
I were hungry. He shared what little he had.
The townsfolk began shouting over one another. Some told of the blacksmith's noble deeds. Others labelled him a traitor, deserving of a cruel and violent end. Meve turned back towards the field hospital, pondering the case, then spotted her soldiers' corpses laid out in rows. Had it not been for Todor, there might not have been so many.
This man forged arms for the Nilfgaardians. 'Tis true,
said Meve to the crowd.
Yet you, Baker, baked the bread they ate. And you, Potter, stained the cups from which they drank. Willingly or not, each of you aided the invader. Where does pursuing one's craft end and treason begin? I've no answer to that. So I shan't punish any for doing merely what's theirs to do.
Upon hearing the verdict, the Queen's troops stared in disbelief, then began to boil. As she walked back calmly to the tent, they jeered and hissed. At the last, it took Reynard to calm them down. Niamh had saved Todor, but she was convinced she'd not see the blacksmith again. Come evening, he returned to the camp, with a wagon full of arms so new they shone.
If it weren't for you, your grace, they'd have torn me to bits with their bare hands,
he said, kneeling before her.
I thank ye for speaking up for me. For my innocence, that is. I've a gift for you. A gift I knows you'll put to proper use.
Niamh took a spear in hand, put it to her shoulder, and gazed down the shaft. The tip glowed red in the light of the setting sun.
Of that, my friend, you can be sure.
How could you, your majesty? He's crafted weapons for it blackclads. The very same what killed our lads. How could you, your majesty?
Freedom will cost us dearly. Dearly indeed. Freedom will cost us dearly. Dearly indeed.
Your Majesty, the hut's untouched. Ripe grain in the fields, 'tis hard to believe. I feared we'd have another Edirn here, with the blackclads setting fire to all.
I feared nothing of the sort. Nilfgaard's not stupid. Lands it aims to hold, it doesn't destroy. And Willem did bend the knee to the Emperor.